Wow, have we just witnessed the best sequel to a Pixar movie? I mean, the competition wasn't massive, but it's certainly up there with Toy Story 2. Yes, Inside Out 2 is a triumph and a true return to form for Pixar. It feels like we're truly back to the classic Disney magic. It was pretty obvious even before the movie was released that we'd be getting more adventures in this universe, and now with the cast and crew discussing a third outing, it's even more certain. There's a lot more growing up to do with Riley, and that likely means she'll need some new emotions to join her on that journey. And well, that's kind of the point of today's video. We're looking ahead to the threequel and thinking about the top picks for emotions that would serve the story and make for the most entertaining end to this trilogy. I'm Connor for SLUURP, and these are 5 emotions that need to appear in Inside Out 3. Number 5. Independence. I think the best idea for the next Inside Out film would be to do another slight time jump, maybe aging Riley to around 15 or 16. This would allow us to bring in a whole host of new emotions that would affect someone at that age. I think independence would be a fantastic emotion to explore in the threequel, as it's something you gain more of as you get older. The independence emotion could be a little bit of a double-edged sword, an emotion that, when in control, could either do positive things with the freedom or get Riley into some pretty alarming situations. You can see it, can't you? Riley is left at home when her folks go away for a romantic weekend. Independence takes control at headquarters and immediately calls everybody she knows for a house party. That gets a little bit out of control. But alternatively, Independence could be responsible for a lot of positives. Think self-care, completing responsibilities around the house, and making choices about her future. Ultimately though, if Independence does show up, I want him in a kilt with a Scottish accent. A not so subtle Braveheart homage that will give him the chance to shout, "They'll never take our freedom!" when Riley is grounded for the house party incident. Number 4. Depression. So for the next 2, they actually come more as a duo, and if the third movie focuses on them, I would always make them a dyad connected to one another. When I was first thinking of emotions for Inside Out 3, I wondered if perhaps a new emotion could be the first real, full-fledged villain of this franchise. In terms of emotions and emotional states, it's only really depression that could take on the role of a flat-out bad emotion. And I know, it's not really an emotion, and if that annoys you, let's just call it despair or something. Introducing depression would no doubt be tricky. It would have to be handled with a lot of care, and also, you know, this is meant to be entertaining too, so you'd also have to make sure the villainous emotion didn't weigh down the movie too much. Ultimately though, if anybody's up to the task, it's Pixar. I like the idea of Inside Out 3 starting with the news that 2 new emotions will be joining the crew. Joy and the others are excited and prepping for the arrival, but only one actually shows up. Depression, a dark, stormy-like character with dull, lifeless eyes. It is a presence that drains light and colour from its surroundings. It's a character that strips the feeling from our established emotions, making many of them completely numb and without feeling. They are completely powerless to help Riley. I would then have a splinter group of the other emotions escape and head out to find the second emotion in the dyad. Someone that can help against depression. As the movie continues, depression could have long-lasting effects across Riley herself and her mind. And to find out how we ultimately would deal with depression, let's head over to our third pick. Number 3. Hope. So yeah, in order to stop depression, Joy and the remaining emotions that didn't get drained will need to head out and find Hope, the emotion that was meant to join originally, but never showed up. I'd have them meet up with Hope only to find out that despite the fact that she's been prepping for her arrival with optimistic and motivational plans for the future, she too has been stripped by depression. Numb and without all the belief Riley needs for her future. Joy and the crew could try to explain that they need Hope. They need her to help stop depression. But Hope reveals that this is something beyond all of them. This isn't just something they can all deal with inside their mind. They alone can't stop depression. Ultimately, Riley needs outside help, a counsellor, a therapist. When the original emotions return to headquarters, we have a cinematic battle with depression as we cross-cut to a typically emotional Pixar scene where Riley opens up about exactly how she's feeling. Ultimately, depression is not defeated, but significantly weakened and contained. It is an emotion that joy in others will always have to watch and keep in check to ensure its power levels do not return to the same state again. Unlike anxiety or sadness, depression isn't a character that can be redeemed. Number 2. Confusion. I like the idea of introducing confusion because it works on a couple of different levels. Let's start with how it could work for someone like Riley. As you get older and face more pressure and responsibilities, the world only seems to get more and more confusing. I feel the introduction of confusion will work on a micro level in Inside Out 3 with simple scenarios like being confused or jumbled up during a maths test, but on a deeper level, confusion could work as a key emotion when it comes to Riley planning and making choices about what she wants to do with her life moving forward. I also think confusion would work really well against other emotions. Think about scenarios where Riley has a romantic interest or crush and she struggles with interacting with them. Dating is confusing, right? I'm sure this would lead to many awkward and cringy scenarios that emotions like disgust, fear and embarrassment would have thoughts on. I also love the moments where we bounce around to various other characters besides Riley, especially the adults. You could be extremely on the nose with confusion in the mind of someone like Riley's dad. Think him trying to do some DIY or flat packing around the house. You just know he's going to get confused reading those instructions. Then characters like Riley's granddad could be introduced. We all know that different emotions lead different people. I could definitely see nostalgia leading the granddad, and when he's telling one of his stories he always repeats. He gets confused and can't keep track of the point you're trying to make. You know this would lead to a great scene between nostalgia and confusion. Number 1. Horny. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Are you joking? Horny. Pixar would never. And I know, I get you, and honestly, do I think it'll ever happen? No, probably not, but I do think there is a way that Pixar could introduce this character with their signature touch and still make it appropriate for all ages. They actually did a pretty good job of touching on this kind of thing in Turning Red. In terms of emotions that Riley would be feeling at that age, I kind of think it's a must-have. I don't see horny, or its metaphorical equivalent, being a main character in the third Inside Out movie, but more of a side character used for some comedic moments. Whether it's Riley's crush or her favourite boy band, you know horny is gonna be acting up. I almost like the idea of calling the emotion infatuation or passion and presenting them as a smooth European Lothario with a thick, seductive accent. The character can almost speak in poetry. I don't know, I think there is a lot of fun that could be had with the character. Tons of room for adult jokes without needing to go over the top or be inappropriate with it. Ultimately, you could have the highlight for this emotion being Riley getting her first kiss. And that's our list. Which emotion from our list do you most want to see in Inside Out 3? If you could choose any emotion to join the prequel, what would you pick? Leave your pitch down below. If you want more Inside Out and Disney coverage for the hottest upcoming movies, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in, SLUURP heads. See you in the next one.